Hi there, fellow gardening enthusiasts. Have you ever felt like giving up on your garden because nothing seemed to grow? Well, you're not alone. I've been there too frustrated, discouraged, and ready to give up. But guess what? Through plenty of trial and learning, I turned my backyard into a green haven that produced over 400 pounds of fresh, homegrown produce. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, along with the valuable lessons I learned along the way. Let me take you back to the start. When I first began gardening, I had no clue what I was doing. I watered too much, planted in the wrong places, and even managed to kill a cactus. Yes, a cactus. But those failures turned out to be my greatest teachers. So stay tuned, because if I can do it, you can too. Let's get into how you can turn your garden from a mess into a productive, thriving space. Let's start with the foundation of any garden, the soil. When I began, I assumed any dirt would work. Big mistake. I planted my first tomatoes in dry, sandy soil that couldn't hold water. As you can imagine, those poor plants didn't survive. Start by testing your soil's pH and nutrient levels. You can pick up a simple test kit online or from your local garden center. Testing your soil is important because it helps you understand exactly what your garden needs to grow. Many plants struggle not because of pests or weather, but because the soil doesn't provide the right environment for them to grow. Once I found out my soil was lacking in nitrogen, I started using compost to improve it. Compost is a total game changer. Adding organic matter like kitchen scraps, grass clippings, or aged manure to your soil feeds the microbes that make your soil fertile. These microbes are like little helpers breaking down organic material into nutrients your plants can absorb. Over time, this process improves your soil structure, enhances drainage, and even helps retain moisture. Speaking of retaining moisture, let's talk about mulch. Use mulch. A 2-3 inch layer of wood chips or straw keeps moisture in and prevents weeds. Mulch also helps control soil temperature, keeping it cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter, which is especially helpful for your plant's roots. Plus, a good layer of mulch just makes your garden look neat and well kept. Funny moment? And here's a funny story. One time, I used fresh chicken manure thinking, more nutrients, more growth. Bad idea. It ended up burning my plants. Lesson learned. Always compost manure before using it. Fresh manure is too strong and can overwhelm your plants with nitrogen. Composting manure first allows it to break down and soften, turning it into a safe fertilizer. Trust me, your plants will thank you. Next up is something that completely changed the way I grow my garden: companion planting. The idea is simple, certain plants grow better when paired together. For example, tomatoes and basil are a perfect pair. Basil keeps pests away that love to munch on tomatoes. Not only that, but it's super convenient to have these two kitchen staples growing side by side. Marigolds are a must-have. They keep pests like nematodes and aphids away from your veggies. These cheerful flowers are more than just pretty, they're hardworking defenders of your garden. Planting marigolds around your vegetables creates a natural shield against pests, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. Avoid planting crops from the same family in the same spot year after year. Rotate them to prevent diseases. Crop rotation breaks the cycle of pests and diseases that target specific plant families. For example, if you grow tomatoes in the same place year after year, you're inviting soil-borne diseases to settle in. By moving crops around, you're keeping your garden healthier and more productive. Personal experience: I once planted cucumbers next to sage, thinking they'd be fine.
Spoiler alert, they were not.
Cucumbers hate strong herbs. Who knew plants could be so picky about their neighbors? This taught me to always research plant compatibility before planning my garden layout. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way in avoiding these kinds of mistakes. Overwatering was my biggest rookie mistake. I drowned my poor zucchinis thinking I was helping them. Turns out, plants don't need daily showers. Too much water can suffocate roots, wash away nutrients, and invite fungal diseases. Learning how to water properly is one of the most valuable lessons for any gardener. Water deeply, but not too often. This encourages roots to grow deeper, making plants more drought-resistant. Deep-rooted plants are healthier, more resilient, and require less maintenance in the long run. When you water just the surface, plants become dependent on frequent watering, and their roots stay shallow. Invest in a drip irrigation system or soaker hoses. These save water and ensure it goes directly to the roots. Not only are these systems efficient, but they also reduce the risk of wetting the leaves, which can lead to fungal infections. Setting up a drip irrigation system may seem like a big upfront investment, but the long-term benefits are worth it. Water early in the morning to reduce evaporation and prevent fungal diseases. Morning watering ensures your plants have enough moisture to face the heat of the day while keeping their leaves dry, reducing the risk of mildew and other fungal issues. It's a small habit that can make a big difference in your garden's health and productivity. One time, I left my sprinklers on while I ran to the store. I thought, I'll just be gone for a few minutes, it'll be fine. But as luck would have it, I ran into an old friend and ended up chatting longer than I planned. When I came back, my backyard looked like a swamp. The grass was submerged, the flower beds were floating, and to top it all off, my dog thought it was a brand new swimming pool. He was splashing around like it was his birthday party. Lesson learned, always set a timer when using sprinklers. It'll save you from turning your backyard into a miniature swamp. If you're short on space, vertical gardening is a game changer. Trust me, it can turn even the smallest corner into a lush, productive paradise. I took a neglected little nook in my yard, which was basically just wasted space, and turned it into a vertical oasis. Trellises, hanging pots, and even an old wooden ladder became my best friends. Use trellises for climbing plants like beans, peas, and cucumbers. They not only save space, but also add a lovely vertical element to your garden. Seeing those vibrant green vines climbing upwards is oddly satisfying. Stack pots or use wall-mounted planters for herbs and strawberries. You'd be amazed how much you can grow in just a few pots if you're smart about it. Strawberries cascading from a wall-mounted planter not only look great, but also make harvesting so much easier. Recycled materials. One of my proudest upcycling projects was using an old wooden pallet to grow lettuce and spinach. I just leaned it against the fence, filled the gaps with soil, and planted seeds. It's cheap, effective, and gives your garden a rustic charm. One of my favorite vertical gardening tricks is using zip ties to secure vines to a trellis. It's so simple, yet so effective. You can find zip ties almost anywhere, and they're super affordable. Plus, they're easy to remove or adjust as your plants grow. Honestly, it's a small trick that makes a big difference. Pests are every gardener's nightmare. Trust me, I've had my fair share of battles with unwanted critters. Aphids, slugs, and even a family of raccoons have tested my patience. But over time, I've discovered some natural solutions that really work. Use neem oil or insecticidal soap to keep common pests away. These options are safe for your plants and effective at keeping bugs in check. Just be consistent in applying them, especially during peak pest seasons. Introduce beneficial insects like ladybugs and praying mantises. These garden helpers will take care of the bad bugs for you. It's like hiring tiny bodyguards for your plants. Create barriers to protect your plants. One of my go-to methods is using crushed eggshells around the base of my plants. They're sharp and uncomfortable for slugs to crawl over, and as a bonus, they add calcium to the soil as they break down. One night, I caught a raccoon red-handed munching on my corn. I flipped on the flashlight and yelled, "Hey!" thinking it would scurry away. But instead, it just stared at me, completely unfazed, as if to say, "You're interrupting my dinner." I waved my arms and made all sorts of noises, but the little guy was stubborn. Now I use mesh covers to protect my crops. It's not perfect, but at least it gives me some peace of mind. Consistency is key in gardening. Back when I first started, I get all excited, plant everything, and then forget about it for weeks. By the time I remembered, my garden looked like a sad, neglected jungle. Now, I make it a point to do a quick daily check-in. It doesn't have to take long, just 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a world of difference. Prune regularly to promote growth and prevent diseases. Cutting back dead or overgrown parts of your plants helps them thrive and keeps them looking neat. Weed as soon as you see them. Weeds are sneaky little thieves that compete with your plants for nutrients and water. Get rid of them before they take over. Fertilize monthly with an organic fertilizer to keep your plants healthy. It's like giving them a vitamin boost to help them grow strong and productive. Remember, a little effort every day goes a long way. Think of your garden as a living, breathing thing. Show it some love and it'll love you back tenfold. There's something deeply rewarding about nurturing plants and watching them grow under your care. Finally, don't forget to enjoy the fruits and veggies of your labor. I'll never forget the time I harvested a zucchini so big it could have doubled as a dumbbell. It weighed almost 5 pounds, and holding it felt like winning an Olympic medal. Moments like that make all the hard work worthwhile. Share your harvest with friends and family. There's nothing like the joy of seeing someone enjoy a tomato, cucumber, or head of lettuce that you grew yourself. Gardening is about more than just growing plants. It's about cultivating joy, connection, and a sense of accomplishment. Keep a gardening journal to track what works and what doesn't. This simple habit will become your personal guidebook filled with helpful lessons learned from your gardening journey. You can jot down planting dates, the weather, successes, and even the failures. Over time, you'll notice patterns and insights that can help you grow healthier plants and get better harvests. Take lots of pictures. Trust me, you'll want to look back at how far you've come. There's something so satisfying about comparing photos from when you first started to where you are now. Did your tomato plants struggle at first, but later thrive? Were your flower beds sparse and then suddenly full of vibrant blooms? Photos capture these moments and help you remember the progress you've made even when things didn't go as planned. Plus, it's a great way to share your gardening success with friends and family.
Now for the moment you've been waiting for, my ultimate gardening trick. Ready? Here it is, compost tea.
It's like a boost for your plants. All you need is some compost, water, and a bit of patience. It's incredibly simple and effective, and I'm going to walk you through the steps so you can try it yourself. First, fill a bucket with water. Make sure the water is chlorine-free because chlorine can harm the beneficial microbes in the compost. If you're using tap water, let it sit out for 24 hours to let the chlorine evaporate. Once your water is ready, add a good handful of compost to the bucket. This compost can come from your backyard pile or a high-quality store-bought version. Let it sit for 48 hours. During this time, the nutrients and helpful microorganisms from the compost will mix into the water, creating a nutrient-rich solution. To get the best results, you can stir the mixture occasionally to keep everything well aerated. If you have an aquarium pump, you can use it to bubble air through the mixture, which will speed up the process and make it even stronger. After sitting, strain the liquid to remove any large particles. You can use an old t-shirt, cheesecloth, or a fine mesh strainer for this step. Once strained, your compost tea is ready to use. Pour it into your watering can and give your plants a good drink. You can use this as a foliar spray as well, applying it directly to the leaves for an extra boost. This simple trick has made a huge difference for me. My plants grew bigger, greener, and healthier almost overnight. It's especially great for vegetables, flowers, and even houseplants. You'll be amazed at how quickly your garden responds. So, there you have it, the journey of how I turned my gardening failures into a 400-pound harvest. Remember, every mistake is a lesson and every success is worth celebrating. Gardening is all about growth, not just for your plants, but for you as well. Stay patient, keep learning, and enjoy the process. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear about your gardening experiences, so drop a comment below and let's chat. What's been your biggest challenge? What's your proudest moment? And if you're looking for more tips, check out my other videos linked here. Thanks for joining me today and happy gardening. You've got this.